Hello, my name is Tim Bernard, and we're going to be taking a look at a few of the locutions that Father Gobbi had with our Blessed Mother. And this one is from May 28th, 1976. Follow me on the path of my son. Beloved sons, listen to the voice of your mother, who calls you gently to follow her. Many of my children are on the point of being eternally lost in these decisive moments, because there is no one to pray and sacrifice himself for them. You must pray for them. Help me to save your brothers. This is the hour of error, which is succeeding in entering everywhere, and especially in seducing many of my priest sons. Do not be astonished if you see fall those who, still only yesterday, seemed the most faithful and most secure. You will see fall even those who set themselves up as teachers of others. Do not be surprised if in this battle those fall who did not want or did not know how to use my weapon that I myself gave you. My prayer, the simple and the humble prayer of the Holy Rosary. It is a simple and a humble prayer, and therefore it is most efficacious in combating Satan, who today is leading you astray, especially by ostentation and pride. It is my prayer because it is offered with me and through me. It has always been recommended to you by the Church, and also by the first of my beloved sons, the Vicar of Jesus, with words that moved my motherly heart. Follow me along the path of suffering. You have now arrived at the moment of your immolation. You are being called to suffer more and more. Give me all your suffering. Today it is the misunderstandings, the attacks, the calumnies of your brothers. Tomorrow it will be persecutions, imprisonment, condemnations on the part of atheists and enemies of God, who will see in you the obstacles that must be eliminated. Walk with me and follow me along the path of my Son, Jesus, along the way of Calvary, along the way of the cross. Never, as in these moments, will you have to live so profoundly and with the vocation of every Christian. He who wishes to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Follow me, beloved sons, today as it is necessary to follow your mother. If you want to travel without fear the path of my Son, Jesus. Now we can really see this taking place today and taking root. Well, look at our own governor this year. Didn't even ask for God's blessing. How arrogant is Jay Inslee? Unbelievable. Now, just a couple things. This is from December of 1978. It is sin which obscures the face of my beloved daughter, the Church, whom I want to be resplendent, without wrinkle, and all fair in imitation of her mother. Today sin is spreading like a mysterious illness, and with the force of a plague it has caused many of my poor children to fall into the deepest darkness. This is a time of suffering for the church because infidelity is spreading and compromise with the spirit of the world has succeeded in misleading even those who carry the great responsibilities. It is in this way that the renewal of the church and the world has already begun. It is taking place in silence because noise is not becoming to the action of your Heavenly Mother. It is taking place in hiddenness and humility. But with each day that passes, it will become more apparent and complete. The more my children respond to the gentle invitation of their Immaculate Mother, the shorter the time of the battle will be, and the sooner the hour of the great victory will come. And the chastisement has been put off many times, but there is a day coming, unfortunately, sooner rather than later, when we will have to face the music, as it would say, and the suffering will go way beyond what we have now. But let's continue with another reading. This is from December 3rd, 1986, from here in the United States, Dallas, to be exact. And our mother speaks of, there are 3 wounds in this country of yours, which are causing pain to my motherly heart and making it bleed. The first wound is caused by the apostasy, which is spreading because of the errors that are being taught and promoted more and more, even in Catholic schools, which are leading an immense number of my poor children to separate themselves from the true faith. The second wound is caused by disunity that has entered into the church and which exists in your country. How it makes the heart of Jesus and my motherly heart suffer to see many bishops, priests, religious, and faithful are no longer united with and are even openly opposing the Pope, whom Jesus has set up as the foundation of his church. And this is only going to get so much worse. We'll talk about that after these readings are done here. The third wound is caused by the infidelity that has entered into the life of many children of the church who no longer follow the commandments of God and the teachings given by Jesus in his gospel. Thus, they walk along the wrong road of evil and of sin. Sin is no longer recognized as an evil. Often, justification is made for even the gravest sins. Sins against nature, such as abortion and homosexuality. Sins are no longer confessed. To what a grave state of sickness have you now come? And this was back in '86. Look at what's going on around us now. Think of the trouble that we are in. Just because someone in the government says it isn't so means absolutely nothing. Nothing. Now, I want to read one last little part. This is from 1990. The causes of the loss of faith are the spread of errors, which are being propagated and are often taught by professors of theology in seminaries and in Catholic schools and which thus acquire a certain character of credibility and legitimacy. The open and public rebellion against the authentic magisterium of the Church, especially against that of the Pope, who has from Christ the duty of preserving the whole Church in the truth of the Catholic faith. The bad example given by those pastors who have allowed themselves to be completely possessed by the spirit of the world and who become propagators of political and sociological ideologies rather than messengers of Christ and of His gospel, thus forgetting the mandate received from Him: go into the whole world and preach the gospel to every creature. Now, you can clearly see that things are getting completely carried away, and so much worse than they were before. I'd like to just read a couple of excerpts from some stuff that is going on around us right now. Recently, Pope Benedict XVI has stepped down. Something that was mentioned in prophecy, that a pope would be forced out. Now, on the surface, they're making it seem like it was his own idea, and hopefully it basically was. But we have his own words when he started his papacy. Now, this is a quote from Pope Benedict XVI's very first homily. "Pray for me, that I may not flee for fear of the wolves," because they know what they've been fighting, what's been going on. They've been trying to slowly deal with this problem that is within the Vatican itself, even, which is what the prophecies said. We're not going to get into all of them. I'll do a whole show, I think, just on that. And one of his last homily, "I am thinking in particular of the sins against the unity of the Church, of the divisions in the body of the Church," which is exactly what was spoken of over 20 years ago in those locutions. And it should be noted that Cardinal Ratzinger, decades ago, said that there was a period coming to the Church. He says, "We are at a huge turning point in the evolution of mankind. This moment makes the move from medieval to modern times seem insignificant." And he talks about the Church just being drastically reduced. And there's plenty of prophecies about that. There's such unbelievable suffering coming. And now remember what was mentioned just a little bit ago about the sin of homosexuality. There recently was released a report about the rampant homosexuality within the hierarchy of the Church still. And that's a very powerful subculture, even within the Vatican. But the Vatican's chief spokesperson tried to dissuade that and say that it's just gossip and slander, and that they're not taking a look at it. This one sentence is interesting, though. It says, "Their view cannot look to the heights or go in depth to understand the spiritual dimensions and motivations of existence." Well, this is what was said, that the spirit of Satan would enter into the Church by Pope Paul, the smoke of Satan. And this is from just one little part from the report looking at what holds this one group together. He says, everything revolves around the non-observance of the 6th and 7th commandments. This is from 3 high-level cardinals, this report. I have another report on my website that was done by a PhD priest, which you can look at. The 7th enjoins against theft, and the 6th forbids adultery, immorality, which is homosexuality, is a subpart of that. An interesting thing, remember how it was talking about how the church was even being taught this. One good book, if you'd like to read about it in the seminaries, is Goodbye, Good Men. Talks about this problem of the homosexual subculture within the church. And this has to do with the Catholic universities now, which some of them are just unbelievable. And once you hear this, in 1990, John Paul II released a Ex Corde Ecclesiae, a papal document defining the centrality of Catholic higher education. Its title translated as From the Heart of the Church. The document called for Catholic colleges to be faithful to their Catholic mission and accountable to their local bishops. Fiercely resisted by many Catholic college presidents and faculty members who viewed Ex Corde Ecclesiae as a threat to their academic freedom to make up whatever the hell they want, in other words. It took more than 10 years to implement, and last month, the Office of the Secretariat of Education at the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops released what they called the final report for the 10-year review of the application of Ex Corde Ecclesiae for the United States. Here in Seattle, we have an unbelievably apostate school called Seattle University. They openly promote homosexuality and every bizarre thing under the sun. Every type of immorality is cool there. And when I tried to just show a documentary on the Virgin Mary, and this was to a professor who was a leader of a youth group exploring spirituality within the church, he said, oh, nobody cares about the Virgin Mary here. That's the problem. And I pray for these people that are teaching this to the children. Because as Jesus said, woe to those who mislead the least of these. For it would be better that a millstone was tied around their neck. And again, he also said, to those who teach falsehoods, and this is at best, they would be called the least in heaven. But, and just how bad are things getting? Here's another example. Leading the list of annual productions of the Vagina monologues, most scheduled on or around Valentine's Day. This year, performances of the play were held at 12 Catholic campuses, up from 9 last year. So that's a 33% increase in 1 year. Among other things, I've never seen this play, the play favorably portrays homosexual relations, adult and child sex, and abortion. And that's something I've told you. You see this rampant explosion of, oh, it's okay for gay marriage, which is really promoting gay sex. And like I've shown you before, it's not going to stop there. They're going to, and you go, oh, no, that's as far as they're going to go. No. They're openly, and I've shown you articles about that before, and here they are promoting it here, openly promoting adult and child sex as okay. My friends, we are on the road to hell. Do not go with them. It is better to die and to be starved out than to succumb and go along with this apostate crap that is being forced down our throats by our fake leaders who are the servants of the devil. If you don't want God, you've got the devil. Whether you believe in him or not, that's Satan's greatest trick. Is, I don't exist, don't worry about me. Inslee doesn't want God, so who do you think he got? What do you think the Twilight series is all about? What do you think vampires are? They're demons. I mean, we're so far gone, and they're going to say good is going to be called evil, and evil is going to be called good. And that's what's going on. And a Connecticut parent tries to ban a high school pro-life group because she calls it's a hate group directed by terrorists. Because what? Oh, they pray for people. I mean, I've said that I've been filled for hate just because I'm praying for people. There's nothing I can do to stop them. I'm not going to physically stop them. If they want to go in, because it's legal, like into Planned Parenthood, even though that's a eugenics operation, they can. But she goes on to say, it is not a club of supported diversity. Well, no, everyone is welcome, but not every sin is welcome. I don't want the sin. And then she goes, it is a distraction from what our children are really there for, an education. No, honey, you need to study the documents we have, like from Charlotte Iserby, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. Among others, this is propaganda. This is indoctrination. It is not education. Just take a look at where we're ranked in the world. It's a joke. Then she goes, don't let hate groups infiltrate our educational system, our propaganda system. You are the hate groups. You hate life. You openly kill and promote killing human beings. We've shown you where they've said, they've put forth, oh, you know, maybe kill kids up to 3 years old. Anyone who's deformed, you're out of here. The old, forget it. You're toast, baby. We don't care about you. That's what's coming. And as Cardinal Ratzinger said from a Marian apparition in Akita, Japan, that there's going to be a huge schism in the church from those who will follow the world and for those who will follow the gospel. And that in the chastisements that are coming, the living will envy the dead. So remember what our mother said. Prayer and fasting can change the world. And the rosary is a very powerful prayer. May God bless you and your family. Until next time.